guys have got this. Okay, so this is our first time opening up Photoshop. Before I get too far, I'm going to keep going, but I'm hoping that everybody will get their files open. If you don't, throw up a hand. But remember, what you want to do in that main menu along the side, click on Open, and then find those four. What key do you guys hit to open more than one file at the same time? Control. Yep, that'll let you get all four at once. Okay, Shannon, you good? No? What happened?
No.
What? No.
I know some stuff up here.
Is it? Here. So if that's the case, I know this is awful. You're just gonna have to shut down again. Do one more restart. So, and my apologies for whatever poltergeist has taken over our lab for today. But okay, we've got our lecture going now. So, for reasons of just making this class easier and me being slightly OCD, I prefer that your screen looks exactly like mine for the first month of class. After the first month, do whatever you want, but I really need your screen to look like my screen so you don't say something like, I don't see that. Where did that menu go? So by default, I'm going to be Vanna White and come up here. This is the screen that comes up when you open up Photoshop. And we have these nice big monitors here, but several of you guys are on your laptop. So like Sid and Valerie, it's taking up a lot of real estate to have these big menus up, right? Just agree with me, just say yes. Way too much real estate. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do, we're going to collapse some of these, and then we're going to shut some of them down, because for the first month, again, I'm like that controlling parent, do as I do. Okay, we're going to make all of our screens look the same, and then after a month or so, once we get into new menus and libraries, then you can kind of open up, because by then, again, the key word is intuitive. I hope it'll be intuitive enough for you guys to kind of like move and open what you want. So the first thing that I want to do is to teach you guys how to control your screen and then maybe even save your workspace so that we have the same interface. Going back to practice, I want your screen to look like this at home too. So what you have here in the lab should be what you have at home, or even on your laptop, right? So if you're going through and following the lectures, you can still follow along. So we don't even have to worry about what file is open right now, but let's do this. We don't need Learn or Libraries. And if you haven't done this before, I'm going to walk through this really slowly. So take your mouse. Do you guys see where my mouse is dancing? Hover over the word Learn, click on it and drag it over to the right, and then hit this X to close it. Okay, if you didn't catch that, I'm going to do that one more time with Libraries. So click on Libraries, drag it over, and then exit out. Look at all this beautiful new real estate we got to work. Yes? So far so good? Okay. And then the other thing that we can do is, right now, does everybody have color and swatches and then underneath it layers? Yeah? Do you see up by color on the far right? This is how tiny and minuscule Photoshop is. You have to collapse that down. And then what this allows us to do is to basically go through and click on these menus individually. Okay? Now in time, we will eventually open these back up, like maybe even later today, but for now I want the real estate. So at a minimum, this is what I want your screen to look like. Okay? But we're probably going to expand it. And then please note here we also have our history that we'll talk about a little bit later. So this guy is okay to hang out here. We good? Yeah? Okay. So this is what I would like your interface to look like. Now to start off, let's go ahead and hang out in Photoshop Example. So if you're not in Photoshop Example, you can hit, if you hit Control and right next to your 1, there's something called a tilde. That lets you go through all of your files that are open. Please use this in every program. This isn't Photoshop specific. So everybody right now, just for fun, hold Control and tilde and go through all of these files.
What's that second word that you're saying?
Tilde. It's right next to the 1. So left of the 1, the squiggly. But I like to say tilde. So Control into squiggle.
I was like, I have no idea what that is.
Now you know. So one day when you're on a game show and they're like, what is the squiggly? You'll say, the $1 million question is tilde. Thank you, Naima. Okay? All right, so that's how you can cycle through. Now, please make sure the extension is .jpeg. So check your extension, make sure it's not .psd. Make sure it's .jpeg. Okay? This is where we're going to start, because right now, as you guys come into my classroom, everything you've done has been a JPEG. The photos you get from your friends, the photos that you take, what you publish online, what you take off of Instagram, manufacturers' websites, it's all JPEGs. And in this class, we'll be working primarily with JPEGs and PSDs. And you can take a PSD. What does that stand for again? Do you guys remember? Good. Photoshop document. They are really different from one another, and one of the main differences is that if you have a PSD, you can't necessarily share it with anybody. Where like a JPEG, you can send it on like a text string and everybody can open it. You need Photoshop to see a Photoshop document, right? So as we're working in this class, if you guys look at the rubric on your assignments, which I suggest you guys do, remember the panic at the beginning of class, we turned it in, but so with your rubrics, I will clearly say, turn in your JPEG, and then I might even say, turn in your PSD, so I can go in and see your work, okay? So most of your assignments, you'll be turning in both. Your PSD, so I can see your work, and then your JPEG, just so I can see what like the final product looks like. We'll get into all of that. But for now, I wanted to just kind of go over how you control your screen. So in Photoshop, there's going to be lots of keyboard shortcuts that I teach you guys, but the most important one is V. Okay, so everybody look at my cursor up here and hit V. That's what your cursor should look like. Okay, I'm not going to sketch it. That's what it looks like. So go ahead and hit M for me just to change it. How do I get it back to V? Oh my gosh, that's not what I meant to say. How do I get that cursor back? V, good. So V is this. It's essentially the move tool. And the move tool is a safe place to be because you're not accidentally cropping something or painting something. You can accidentally move something and it's not a big deal. But if we are not cropping or marquing or all these other things, I always want you guys to be in the move tool because it really does like the least damage. Okay? So what is kind of like our natural state in Photoshop? V. Yep, and sometimes you can even, depending on the command you're in, you can even get here by hitting escape. But for today, it's V, and it stands for move. So that's what we're going to start with. Now here in our JPEG, I want you guys to come in and see what happens if you try to move something. Does anything happen other than kind of getting an error? Not really, right? What's the thing? Right? Maybe? Oh, okay, so that's fine. So I hit cancel on mine. That's okay, you were one step ahead of me. You can move it, but see how it moves the whole background? So I'm going to show you guys where, oh, Lorena. Lorena? Yes, okay, good. I don't know, I started, so you can, if I convert it to a normal layer, so you were just one quick step ahead of me, I can move the entire canvas. Okay, so it's picking up the whole thing. And one thing that will also be new that we will have to really focus on this week is the layer that we're on. So in a JPEG, just to let you guys know, everything is basically just one flat file, okay? And you can see here, so everybody come to the layer, and how many layers do you see? One. There's just one layer. We're not going to spend too much time on this one. Please?
Layer 0, is that fine?
So, say that one more time.
Mine says layer 0.
So does mine.
Oh, I thought that was one. I'm just really blind.
No, I'm blind too. That's okay. You're okay. For today, pretty much anything's okay, honestly, especially for the JPEG. What I want you guys to do now, though, is hit Control tilde, just to get used to that, and come to the Photoshop file. And the first thing I want you guys to notice are the different layers. How many different layers are there? 4. Good. So right now, what I'd like you guys to do is using your V command, come over to the SLCC logo and try to move it. You guys are already this excited? This class is gonna be great. Woohoo! So here's one thing that's really weird, okay? I'm gonna zoom in just so it helps with you guys today and also the lecture I'm recording. But see how I'm kind of by the community college logo? Why isn't it moving? See how I'm not actually on the logo? Right? So you actually have to click on part of the logo, right? Essentially, there are pixels here that we need to like touch and grab onto. We can't assume that because we're by the logo that we're on the logo. So let's come back out here and move the logo over to the left side for me.
Alright, how did you get the 4 layers again?
Thank you. There you go. Good. And then after that, go ahead and click on my face. And are you guys surprised that this isn't my body? Right? Now tell me what this layer is called. Thank you. Don't forget that. Good. So, surprise, surprise, this is Photoshop. This isn't really me. I just put my head on there. And if you go over to professional outfit, you can move that around. The background has a lock on it. Do you guys see that? So you can't move the background because it's locked. And isn't it kind of annoying that I'm trying to move my face and this body, but they're not moving together? I think it's annoying. I'd rather think that I am these two people together. So what did we do before? So when we started class and I wanted you guys to select more than one file, what did we do then? What key did we hit? Okay, without me telling you, try to move my head and my dream body at once with just that little hint. Okay, now I'm going to come save you. So at the beginning of class, to select more than one file, I had you guys hit Control. So if I have my face selected, I can hit Control and go to Professional Outfit, and there I am. So far, so good?
No.
No? Okay. So let me show you one more time. So click on either the outfit or the teacher, okay? Hold the Control key and then click on whatever one you don't have. And now try to move it. Okay, super graphic subtleties in Photoshop. How do we know that a layer is selected? Tell me graphically what's happening to my screen.
They're lighter gray.
Really subtle. Yep, it's just a slightly subtle lighter gray. When I look at my screen now, what's selected? Okay, what is selected now? Okay, how can I select my face? Good, so if I just click on it, I can click on it, but I lose it. So I'm gonna hit Control and grab Professional Outfit, and can you see that they're both selected? Okay, that will be the first subtlety of Photoshop. There will be even more subtle things. Like I'm talking like, do you see where background is? Do you see that little tiny white box that just came around it? Okay, that little tiny white box is going to make a big difference later in class. So again, we're trying to save the princess. These are the things that we're trying to notice over this first week, second week, and third week. If we can get this stuff down, the rest of the semester will be so much easier. Okay? All right. Are you guys ready to have a tiny little bit of fun? Okay, fun is subjective. I'm a fun. I geek out on this stuff. Okay, so if you want to make my face disappear, take a look at what I'm doing on my screen, and you try to do the same thing. Is my face really gone?
No.
What did I do?
You hit it behind her.
Yeah, so essentially you can change the layer order of things. So the things that are up top, so everybody bring the community college logo on top of me. I am now sponsored by the community college. So grab the community college logo, bring it on top, and don't forget to have your mouse on pixels. Okay? So right now the community college logo is at the very top of my layer order. So let's think about this like as if we were crafting or collaging, all right? So this is at the top of your paper or your layer stack, okay? And let's say that we want to put it behind my suit. We can easily just drag this down and throw it behind both of those two layers. Can you guys try that for me? Okay. I still want my face to be on top. And if we wanted to be really, really awkward, we could put the logo in between the two. Play with that for just a minute, just to get an idea of layer order, okay?
It's not letting me line your face up with the model's face.
Is it like kind of jerking off to the side? So what you have to do in that case, let's see, zoom in a little bit more. I think that'll help. Zoom in even more than that. Good, and then try it one more time. There you go. So sometimes if you're zoomed out so much, it looks for other things and it's trying to align to those other things. Zooming in ignores it. I look good. Oh, it's gone. Jackson. Go to history. Jackson just like deleted my face. I'm so okay, pull this down. So up here. Pull that down. Where? I don't know where it went. It's not even in your history. Yeah. Come back. Okay, go back to the file that you were in. Okay, and then go back to your history. And we're just going to reopen it. So go to this one. And I don't know when my face is gone. It's not even in your history. You can reopen it or just pretend it's there. It's okay. It's very bizarre. I think you may have, looking at your file now, Jackson, I think you merged it with the background, with me behind it. So essentially you buried my face. Okay. How do you guys feel about that so far? Okay. If there's going to be one other thing I ask you in just a minute. You will notice that I I tell you what to do a lot, but I like to ask you to do it first. So don't think that Jessica, don't think I'm a lazy teacher. But I'd rather have you guys figure it out on your own than think that I have to tell you everything. Because half of the fun in Photoshop is figuring out all the new stuff. Because every year they come out with new things. And this semester there's even a few things that me along with you, we're going to learn together. So if I asked you guys to move something, are you comfortable doing that? What's your keyboard shortcut?
Control.
Close. What's your keyboard shortcut? Yeah, V. Just imagine me up here, V. You're trying to move, so it's the V and move, good. So hit V, and then your cursor should look like that. Just memorize that cursor. This is where you want it to be for the most part, okay? If I told you guys to change your layer order, do you know how to do that? Okay, so imagine you are working on your own file. So you had a sofa, and then you brought in a lamp, and you can't find your lamp, but you know your lamp is in there. Check your layer order because it could be behind, right? Your lamp could be here and you just need to bring it to the front. So on my layer menu, what's on front? Top or bottom?
Top.
Top, good. And always look, the background is a hint. So the background is always towards the bottom. So anything towards the top is going to be closer to you, okay? Good. Let's do this. We haven't talked about this. So remember how just a minute ago I hid my face by putting it behind my suit, right? Can you guys see something on your layer menu where you can make my face disappear without hiding it behind something?
Eyeball.
Good, the eyeball. So the eyeball means that a layer is visible. If you don't want to see something for whatever reason, you don't have to delete it. You can just turn it off. Okay, so the eyeball indicates whether a layer is visible or not. So we've done a lot in just like 20 minutes. We've talked about layers, we've talked about moving layers, we've talked about visibility, and let's do a couple things that I, again, subjectively think is fun. So we all love the community college, right? Yes? Thank you. So what we're going to do is tell me what happens. So everybody make sure you are in V and the SLCC logo is selected. How do you know for sure the SLCC logo is selected? Yep, it's light gray, barely light gray. So good. While you're doing that, tell me what happens when you hold the Alt key and then kind of drag down. And then keep doing that. Okay? And does everybody see what's happening? We're duplicating the Slcc logo, right? But look at your layer menu and tell me more specifically what you're duplicating. You're duplicating the layer. So I got up to 5. How many do you guys have? Okay, good. So tell me again, V plus what key duplicates? Good. So V. You're gonna what? I could just run downstairs and get them from faculty support.
I feel very strongly that there is a correct whiteboard marker and a not correct one.
I don't know what I don't know why these are usually pretty awesome. I don't know if it was a semester or what, but okay. So V plus Alt duplicates.
Mine
So
won't let me keep going. Like I'm trying to make it work.
you know, let me see. So on mine, if I just hold the Alt key down, it keeps going. Now, one thing I will say, are you using your trackpad and not a no, you have a mouse, right? Yeah, you should be okay. You might just have to magic, because I'm magic. That's why. So imagine that you're working on a room, right? We talked about a lamp before. If you have 2 end tables, or you don't even have 2 end tables, now you know how to duplicate an end table, right? Do you know how to duplicate a lamp? Yes? Let me ask you this. Think about this for a minute. You have a table on one layer. You have a lamp on another layer. Do you think you could duplicate both of those at once?
Yes.
Try with control. I like that. No, not control. We're going to let loose in this class. Yes, I know what you mean. Yes, with control. Why don't you guys try this? Try to move my head and my body and make a copy. Got it? So clone me and see if it works. Test whatever you think you're doing. Try to clone me. Am I cloned?
Yeah.
I heard a that was not yeah. Who was All right. Do you want me to show you how?
No, it's fine. I got it.
Well, no, that's not how we talk when it's fine.
I got it.
Okay, good. Okay,
See, it worked now.
excellent.
I just missed it. It's
That's
fine.
totally fine.
Told you.
Now, while we're here, yes, subjective is fun. We're going to do one more thing, okay? So make sure that you have a head and a body selected. I am obviously like way too big for campus right now, right? Well, whatever. It could be fine, but I'm pretty big compared to the scene. So what we can do is everybody hit Control T, and this is like one of the most basic things that you can do in Photoshop. And this is called transforming.
Control T, you said?
Yep, Control plus T or Command T. And what you can do is grab any one of these white toggle points, and you can make me small. If you go to the corner, I know it's super hard to see. No, let me move myself. Do you guys see if I go to a corner, I can get kind of that rounded? You can also put me at an angle, like, wee, I'm falling from the sky. No? Control T? So, you have, I don't know what you have selected. You have professional outfit 5. Do you have a head selected too? There you go. So I think that's why. You only have one part of me selected instead of both. There you go. Is it working? Hit escape for me. Let's get out of transformation. So hit escape. Sorry, that one's escape. Good. So hit it to get out of there. Yep. And now go ahead and hit the Alt key. So this is your Alt key. And now hold that down. And see how you got a double arrow? That means it's about to copy it. So I'm going to drag over. There you go. Yep. See how it changes to a double arrow? There you go. And now hit Control T again. Hit escape. There you go.
I wanted to keep it small.
Oh, so you hit enter in that case. Sorry. They wanted to get rid of it all. So I'm going to come back over here and keep transforming. So over here, right now you can see that it's kind of keeping these proportions. One thing you could also try, if you wanted to make it a little bit more based in reality, if you hold the shift key down, you should be offended, not laughing. Just kidding. You can hold the shift key and change the proportions. But by default now, Photoshop kind of just keeps with proportions. Okay? Or, I mean, we could just go all out, man.
Ooh.
Whatever you'd like.
My body is super fat.
Okay? So far, so good. We kind of see how files work. So this is really basic navigation in a Photoshop file. What you're going to have is you're going to have a PSD file with different layers in it. Now, in the future, you guys are going to make your own layers, but to start, I'm going to give you layers. One thing that you guys can't really see in this file, though, is that I have already kind of gone through the work of putting, you know, the woman in there in the suit, and I've also isolated my head. No, you guys couldn't go online and just find a suit that's isolated. You could, but you have to kind of pay for it. And I don't think an image of you guys exists where it's just your head, right? You guys with me? So what one of the first things that we're going to learn is how to mask items so that we can isolate them. And it could be masking a head, it could be masking, again, coming back to the sofa, masking a suit, something like that. Before we get too far with that, though, I'm going to come off of this for just a moment, and we're going to talk about the different file types that you can work with. So for this one, let's go back to Photoshop example JPEG. So come back to this one for me. And what I'd like to address, just kind of as an intro, we're going to go into more depth next class, and even the class after. We're going to talk about file size and then resolution, okay? Because this will be really big in our class. Since we'll mostly be working with images on the internet, I want you guys to understand the ramifications of getting files online and then trying to put them onto a board, right? So typically in our program, I'm going to grab this as an example. We usually do large format presentations, something like this. Or maybe a little bit bigger. We also do 11 by 17s. Now I kind of live in a world where almost everything I do is digital. So I send PDFs to my clients, they send PDFs back to me, I put my stuff out on the web. But it's not going to be uncommon for you guys to use Photoshop to do something like this. And for your final project, you will do something like this. And I'm sure that you guys are in classes right now where you could use Photoshop to do a board layout or an assignment layout, yeah? Okay, so what I want to make sure is that when you start a file, you start with the right canvas so that as you bring photos in, they're not going to be way too big or even worse, way too small. Because depending on how you work with pixels, they could shrink down quite a bit or get stretched out too much. So that's going to be the next thing that we do. Using this file as an example, here's what I want you guys to do. Go up to image, and then please come down to image size. And let's see what kind of information we have here. So image and then image size. Okay, everybody with me here? All right, so within Photoshop, we will be talking about inches, and we're also going to be talking about pixels. Now, pixels is a little bit out of our wheelhouse. This is kind of, Jessica, I'm going to say your specialty because you're in kind of the graphic design world. But it's something that we still need to know about because we're using this software. So looking at this, tell me how big this is in inches if I were to print it out.
13.89.
Perfect. So almost 14 inches by just over 10 inches, right? Does everybody see that? Okay, so we've got a 13 by 10. And then the resolution, do you guys see where it says 72 pixels per inch? Okay, that's going to mean a lot more in just a minute. And then you can also see the image size here, the 2.15 megs. Everybody see that? The thing that I want you to take note of right now is just the 13 by 10, I'm just going to round it down, and then the 72 pixels per inch. Let's just hang out there for a minute. So tell me again how I got here, because I'm going to have you guys do this on your own in just a minute. How did we get here? Yep. Perfect. Okay, let's do this. So on your own, or even with the person next to you, do you guys see that I have RSL1 and RSL2? These are pretty much the exact file, I'm realizing now. They're not the exact same file. They should be. You know, they're pretty close. Go ahead and open up the image size, and maybe talk to your neighbor. Even though they look the same, tell me what the differences are between the two of them. And then I'm actually going to define it for you. Okay. So RSL1 and RSL2. Are you guys seeing some differences between the two? Yeah? Okay. I didn't give you a long time. Was that enough for you guys to open it and just kind of compare the two of them? So let me tell you the difference between the two. I don't even know which one is which. If I go to RSL1 image size, whoa, okay, I know the difference. So this one is 83 inches by 55 inches. It's huge, but it still is at 72 pixels per inch. Now the other one, I'm assuming, is significantly smaller, right? Yes, so 17 by 11 by 72. So what this is an example of is, so my sister is a photographer for the RSL, and her images that she takes off of her camera, the untouched file is that 83 by 55. I knew it was big, but I did not know it was that big. So that's how big it is. But when she takes those same images and without doing anything and she posts them on Facebook, this is what Facebook does automatically. It just kind of shrinks them down so it can fit their servers and things run smoothly. It doesn't take up as much room. Because this is 3 megs, and let's see how big this one is. Image size. This is 68. So a significant difference between the two, right? One of them is huge and one of them is quite small. As we keep working on our files over the next couple of weeks, what I'm going to do is tell you guys how big to make your canvases and then what types of files to bring in. Essentially, we can't necessarily work with anything that's like 83 by 55. Because remember how I said at the beginning of class that most of the stuff we get is on the internet, right? We are lucky if we get an internet file that's 19 by 20. I think most of the stuff that we can get with good resolution online might be a 4 by 5, right? So we're somewhat limited in that, but there are ways, again, to contact manufacturers to get larger images. But if you're just doing quick idea boards, we're somewhat limited in what we can get, but we can still make it work. So we'll start that again beginning of class next week, but I just wanted to introduce canvas size to you guys. And we could even start on this part today, but when we're talking about the pixels per inch, that's also really important too. And in fact, I'm gonna pause that. We're gonna continue this next week because part of your assignment this week will be to go online and on your phones, and even if you actually have like a digital SLR, I want you guys to go through and find out how big those images are. Right? Just like we did today. So you're going to open them up in Photoshop. You're going to find out what the width and the height is as well as the resolution. When we come back next week, we'll talk even further about what the impacts of the resolution is, okay? One thing to think about to think about though is that this is an inch that I've blown up, right? Can everybody imagine this being an inch? Pixels per inch means how many little dots or how many pixels are in here. So think back, we're going to talk about Nintendo a lot today. We're going to go back to Nintendo. If Nintendo only had 1 pixel per inch, right? So we've got 1 pixel in this little inch. We've just got this big blob of black in here, right? So to make something look like a house, we've got that crazy stamped pixel art. Everybody with me? And imagine what it would look like to try and get a curve. So you would just essentially have square, square, square. So do you see how even like a curve ends up looking somewhat jagged, right? But if you take that same pixel and you put 72 pixels in there, do you see how you can add more blacks and grays and blues and make that curve even smoother? Because now where we used to have 1, this gets turned into 72. There are resolutions out there where you can get 300, 600, and even 1200. So essentially, if I had a really nice camera, I could stand here, I could take a picture of that tree all the way down there, and when I zoom in, I could probably see that bird. Like even better than way better than what my eyes see, okay? So next week, make sure you get that assignment done so we can open that up and keep working on that in here. You guys see where we're going with that and how that'll affect your canvas? Yeah? Okay, so that's going to be your homework, kind of looking around your different file types and seeing what you can do. Okay, so now what we're going to do, we're going pretty strong. Just for sake of time, since we had a lot of hiccups, I'm not going to take a break yet. Is that okay? If we keep going? All right, let's close out of all of these, and we're not going to save yet, and you guys can just hit the X's up here on the tabs, file close, either one. And go ahead and open up Photoshopping for Gold for me. Jessica, this is an intimidating class to be teaching in front of you. You're like the pro, and you're going to be like, this is how you guys do it? This is kind of scary. You should have actually come in like 3 weeks. Oh.
It's interesting because they're learning it from a different perspective.
Yeah.
Like what you showed them in that dialog box, we spent like a week and a half in my class on. Just talk about print resolution, image quality, which doesn't matter as much to you guys, but like.
If you saw like the files that we use, you'd be like, oh my gosh, but different end game, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Totally different end game.
What class do you teach? Our 12 maybe Photoshop software.
Like 4 digital graphics, like legit Photoshop. Not that we're not legit, but we're interior designers. We're borrowing their software. Okay, everybody reset your brain. We're starting something completely different. Totally new concept. You've never heard about it before. You're going to be so excited, and it's going to follow you for the rest of the semester. Everybody with me? Yes? Okay, awesome. So I've given you guys this file, and it just looks like a blank white file, right? What we're going to start off doing today is we're going to we're going to start a new topic that's going to be called masking. And you guys keep hearing me say masking is so important, masking is so important. I think this is a fun way, fun is subjective, I'm a cheese ball. I think this is a fun way to show you guys the very basic concept of what masking is. Okay, any Harry Potter fans in the house? Yes. Okay. What color is Harry Potter's cloak of invisibility? Liars. Black. Did you say black?
No, I said red.
I think it's black. Okay, in this class, I'm so sorry, I'm probably the liar. Okay, in this class, we all have a cloak of invisibility, and it's black. I'm sorry, I should fact check. But, so in Harry Potter, he has this cloak, and when he puts it on, he's invisible. So we can essentially do that same thing in Photoshop, but it's with the color black, and it's something called a mask, okay? This is where I'm going to start voguing a little bit. So at the beginning of class, remember how I said that photoshopping in layers is kind of like collaging, okay? So bear with me. My background layer is down here, right? And then we can put layers on top of it. So what I want you guys to imagine is that this is me in the pantsuit. Everybody with me? But that pantsuit was out of a catalog where I've got like my family running behind me, and Roxy's in there. I'm not photoshopping her out this time. Is it Roxy? Yes. Okay. Roxy's there, but I want to mask or isolate it so it's just me in the pantsuit. Everybody with me so far? So that's my first layer I have. So in Photoshop, there is a technique called masking, and I'm just going to show you where the button is. Don't press it. I always call it, it looks like the flag of Japan without color. So it looks like this to me. Okay. So that's what the masking tool does. The thing that you guys need to remember today is that to mask something, first you have to put a mask layer on. So here's me with the suit, and then I put a mask layer on top. Now, right now, I haven't masked anything yet, but what I need to do is add the color black. Okay, so that's the important thing to remember. What do I need to do on a mask layer to mask it off?
Add the color black.
Add the color black. So this is where the whole gamut opens up. In Photoshop or in like Microsoft Paint, how do you add black to something? Paint, you can use the brush tool, excellent, okay? You can use the bucket, those are all good answers. But they're not necessarily professional or precise. Have you guys even tried signing your name using like the bucket tool? No, don't sign your name using the bucket tool. Don't do that. Have any of you guys tried signing your name using the paintbrush? What does it look like? Not your name, right? Could you imagine trying to get a nice pantsuit line out of that? It doesn't necessarily work. So just know that what we're starting with right now is just kind of fun. And then what we're going to do is we're going to move into refining. So in less than 15 minutes, you guys are going to have fun, and then we're going to move into refinement. So this exercise is to show you guys how masking works, and in particular, bringing something back after it's been masked. And then after this, I'm going to show you guys all of the techniques to essentially add black or add a mask that's far more precise than the gradient bucket and way more precise than using the brush tool. Now, I asked this last week, but I'm sorry, I forgot. How many of you guys in here have styluses on like an iPad or a smart something or other? Good. Play with those kind of outside of class. One day when we have more lab time, probably not until week 3, I'll show you guys how you can do it with your stylus. And truthfully, Photoshop has gotten so good, especially with the new cross selection tool that I just discovered like a day or 2 ago. You might not even need it, but it's still fun to see. So for this example, take a look at your layers. How many layers do we have?
2.
Okay. They're not called anything exciting, right? It's just layer 1 and layer 2. Okay. Here is where the intricacies of the layers. So everybody, do you see where layer 1 is black?
Mm-hmm.
Click on that for me. Okay. I know you guys don't know this, but you will now because I'm telling you. That black area is the mask, okay? So anything that is painted black is essentially out of sight, out of mind, okay? Anything that's essentially white is fair game, like you can see it. So here's what I want you guys to do. We haven't done this yet. Bring your cursor to the middle of your screen and make sure caps lock is off. So this is a good note. So I'm going to write brush or cursor, caps lock off, and I'll show you why. Okay, everybody got your cursor in the middle? Hit B for brush for me. And now you should see a little cursor, or sorry, a little circle. You guys see the circle? Okay, I'm going to show you another shortcut. Above your enter key, just to the left, do you guys see the brackets? Yeah? Press those 2 brackets and tell me what happens. What does bracket right do? It's bigger. Okay, what does bracket left do? Good. Okay. Turn on caps lock. What happened?
Went away.
Naima, my machine is broken. I don't see the circle. Fix it for me quickly. Quickly, tell me what I do to fix my machine. Caps lock. Okay. It took me way too long to figure this out. And I did it on accident. I was like, oh my gosh, it's caps lock. Your machine is not broken. So I would say, get your cursor. So up here, there's home, there's a paintbrush, and then there's a number. Make that 100 using these. We'll get to the shortcut menus later. Make it 100. And this is going to be fun is subjective. Has anybody done scratcher cards gambling?
Where do you see
Sorry.
where it goes to 100?
Right here. So see the house? Go 2 over from there.
Oh.
There should be a tiny number. So I'm at 125, I'm cheating. But what I want you guys, by default, you should be at the color white. Start scratching like it's a scratcher card. What's happening? Woohoo! So let's be specific. We are unmasking a mask.
This is in the wrong layer.
Ah, see all those subtleties? Okay, let's go to your history. Let's fix that. So click on your history. You just graffitied all over it. Pull that down. Okay. Oh, wait. There you go. And then I should go back to open. And then actually click on where it says open. Good.
Oh, okay.
There you go.
Just click on the block.
Super subtleties. Okay, now if things are going well, you should be able to see this being unmasked. And if you look, again, I am not kidding when I say that Photoshop is so subtle. Like you need like Superman laser vision for this. Do you see how on my mask, it's actually showing me a little tiny preview of where I have unmasked, okay? I'm gonna skip ahead, but you can hit the slash key above the enter button to actually see that. Yep. I think it's the backslash. So look above your enter key, there's a slash. Not Guns N' Roses, people. The actual slash key, okay? That gives you a better preview. Now we're jumping way ahead just for time's sake, but how many pieces of gold did you guys find? 7? Cool. Awesome. Okay, I'm jumping ahead again. So what I did, you guys didn't do this. I created a file that had all this gold, and then I hid it using what?
Mask.
A mask, okay? What was the color for the mask? Black, right? So even though we see that on our preview we have an entire layer that's black, did it actually paint our layer black? No, because it's a layer mask, okay? So here's another thing that we can do. I want you guys to kind of bury the treasure again. So see see down here that my main color is white, my foreground color. Hit the X key for me and tell me what's happening between your foreground and background color. They're switching. So to bury it or to remask it, make it black and then color that in. Okay, so tell me what the X key does.
It switches your colors.
Yep, it toggles, let's be specific, foreground and background. In this case, it's black and white. Okay. What color masks?
Black.
Okay. What color reveals or unmasks?
White.
Okay. At any point, tell me, you guys help me fix this. Okay, I'm talking to my friend, I'm having so much fun, I come back. Is this right?
No.
Tell me why it's not right.
Because you're on the wrong layer.
I'm on the wrong layer, so I shouldn't have black or white all over my screen, right? How do you know that I'm on the wrong layer? Because Sid, you're lying to me, because right now layer 1 is light gray. So I am on the right layer.
It's the white box.
Ah, the subtleties of Photoshop, the white box. Yes, so not only do you have to be on the right layer, you have to be on either the image or the mask, okay? Please pay attention to those things and try to spot it easily so that you can quickly fix it, okay? Luckily, in Photoshop, we do have Control Z, which is undo. It's in all of your other programs. Let me try one thing, hang on. I haven't tried this yet. So I saw online that Photoshop has multiple undos now. Let me test that. Oh, Jessica, multiple undos.
Totally ruined my recorded lecture. It's better that it's not.
I'm so excited. This is a first. Thank you, 2020. We love you. Back in the day, it wasn't like this. So back in the day, meaning 2 weeks ago, it wasn't like this. So you kids don't know how easy you have it. This is the masking concept. I'm going to go back to a thing I said at the very beginning really quickly. If you looked at your layer menu and you wanted to add a mask, which button is it? Yep. Japan. Yep. So, flag of Japan. This is your mask. Okay? Good. What we're going to spend the rest of class doing, so what I'm going to do, we're going to start the exercise together, and then if you guys want to pass out, it was a really packed 50 minutes of lecture. Give yourselves an applause. Yes. Well done. Good job. Okay. Go ahead. Let's open up our exercise, and let's start with chucks. So do you see how in the exercise we have one called chucks?
Right.
So in class 1, there was also an exercise that had 4 files, and I put those in a different folder. Sid, are you with me? The furrowed brow says you're not. You might have to go back onto Canvas and download this. Okay. But one of the files is chucks. So I'm going to hit open, and by the looks of the crowd, about half of you guys might still be downloading it. Yes? I'm going to pause. I won't start, but I'm just going to tell you guys what we're doing. Okay, so what we're about to do is, if you look at your layer manager, do you see that I've created a whole bunch of layers for you? So one of them is W quick selection, magic wand, lasso, whatever. We have to add one more today. So the first thing we're going to do, I'm going to teach you guys how to make a new layer and then how to duplicate a layer. What this will help us with, this is a file that I pre-built for you guys. You will notice in the exercise there were 3 other chairs, right? Yeah, there's 3 other chairs. So for those, you guys actually have to go through and make all of these layers and then do everything we're about to do. So this one is just for us to start. The others, you'll just have a generic, I don't even know what the layer is called, but you are going to have to make all of these. So let me show you how to do that. So first I'm going to show you how to make a new layer. And this is a blank layer. We don't need a blank layer, but we're going to do it. So coming down here, you might have to stand up to see it, but do you see that it looks like a page with the corner turned up? So click on that for me, and I have a new layer. So page, corner turned up, right next to the trash can. Okay? Do we need a new blank layer? No. How do you think, well, I'll just tell you. To get rid of a layer, just drag it down to the trash. It's very satisfying. Okay, you guys got that all right? So new layer, we're just gonna stick to that one for now. We also have to make a copy of this particular layer. So in your other examples, like your other exercises for the chairs, this is how you guys will be doing it. So take a look at my screen. So I have W quick selection. What I can do, I can select the layer, drag it down to the new page and let go. And what happened up here? Good. I'm going to undo that. Go ahead and try it, see if it works, and then I'll do it one more time.
Undo it by deleting it?
Control Z. So drag, touch it to the new page, and you should have a copy of that. I don't even know what this is going to be called. Hang on. This is so new. Oh my gosh. We don't have 2020 in here. We have 2019. Do you have 2020? Do you have 2020? Okay, hit W for me. Sorry. Do my homework for me. If you have 2019, it won't work. If you have 2020, do this at home. Did you hit W? Okay, did you see that it highlighted that thing on the side? Thank you. Right click on it for me. So I see quick and magic wand. What's the new third one?
Object selection tool.
Object selection tool. Okay. Rename this one to W object selection, and you rename it by first clicking on the layer and then double click on the name, and it'll let you change it. So W object selection tool. Oh, I'm so sad. I totally thought we had 2020 in here. Okay. You might not, obviously, if you're on a laptop, please do this, okay? So in your rubric, it won't have W object selection tool. For your homework though, since all of you guys downloaded 2020 at home or on your personal computers, try it there. It's really, really cool. Okay. Let's start with W quick selection. Okay. And you guys are going to be unsatisfied as to how this turns out. Let me just put that out there. This is just for us. So this next part, what we're about to go through, is to introduce you guys to the different ways of quickly selecting things in order to mask it. This doesn't mean that I'm looking for precision, but one thing that's part of your homework and your exercise, after you go through all of these, I want you guys to comment on which one you liked the best or which one you guys liked the least. All right? Let me ask you, it's 1:40. Do you guys have another 10 minutes in you, or should we take a 5-minute break and then run through these? Go take a break. Everybody looks. Ugh. 5 minutes, 1:45. Come back. We're going to run through each one of these, and then you're going to do the rest on your own. I've used Photoshop so much that there were a lot of things that are new that weren't intuitive to me that I just kind of haven't replaced, if that makes sense. So what I want you guys to do is I want to show you guys all of the tools, and then you get to decide which one works best for you. The only thing that I'm concerned about is that precision. I don't want it to look photoshopped. So you can decide which one works best for you. So to start off, we're going to go through all of these different selection tools to do what's called a quick mask, just to see what they're capable of. And then next week when we come back, we're going to learn how to combine the methods. Because again, you'll find today that rarely any of these will be good, except for those of you who have 2020. It might get, what is the new one called? The object selection tool. It might get it immediately and you might be set. I don't know. I haven't even tried it with this particular one. But I want you guys to find what works best for you. And again, even the thing that works best might still need some fine tuning. So next week, there's going to be an updated selection exercise where we're going to start combining everything. But today it's just a one and done. Let's see what this tool does, okay? So for this next part, it's really important that if I lose you, yell at me right away. Don't wait until we're 5 steps away. So I will be trying to look for furrowed brows. If I miss you, I'm sorry, but the best thing to do is to yell at me. Fair enough? Okay, so let's start with a W quick selection, because we don't have object selection here. So the reason why I have a W there is that is the shortcut for the tool that we're about to be using. Was that the door? Was that me?
No,
that was me. Okay. So go ahead and hit W for me, and you'll see that it highlights a new tool menu on that left side. I think at the beginning of class I totally skipped past that tool menu. I was so excited to get the real estate on the right side. Everybody, welcome to your tool menu. You can click the graphic icons, but just know that in this class, I almost always do the keyboard shortcuts. Okay, so the first one is W. Find that for me, and then right-click on it. And here in class, do you see?
I messed my thing up, and I don't know how to get back.
I promise you didn't mess it up.
I just went into full screen, and I can't figure out how to get out of full screen.
Oh, hit tab for me.
Tab.
Yeah, hit tab again, and then hit escape. There you go.
Go. Thank you.
You're welcome. So at home, oh wait, no, not at home. Hit W. Tell me your options in this class.
quick selection tool and magic wand.
Okay, when you look at your layer list, do you see quick selection and magic wand? Hooray! When you go home, you have 2020, you're gonna have a new one, object selection tool. It's magic, like more so than me, okay? Let's start with the first one, quick selection. So W, and then come up to the top and right click to where it says quick selection, okay? So go ahead and look on my screen for just a moment. I'm going to walk through this once, maybe twice, and then we're all going to do it together. So all eyes up here. I'm sorry, this is awkward for a lot of you with your back towards it. So W quick selection. It's the layer I'm on. I right click, I go to quick selection. Now the point of this exercise is to isolate the shoe from the white background. I keep talking about this sofa. You guys remember the sofa I'm talking about? Same concept. I don't want a white background, I just want a shoe. So what we're going to do is we are going to use this quick selection tool, and I'm just using my mouse and I'm trying to select the shoe. So I'm holding my mouse down, trying my best, It doesn't have to be perfect. And then once I think I've got it, okay, can you guys see these little ants marching? That's what I like to call them. We'll discuss those again in a minute. I am just going to hit this mask. Let me turn off the other layers and this layer. That's what we get with that one. Okay, I'm going to start that whole thing over again because I went really fast. Let me back up a little bit. I should have prepared you guys a little bit better. So the first thing that I want you guys to do is to turn off all of the layers but the one you're working on. Yes, ma'am.
My thing is still like, I have no idea what's going on.
But it's okay, right? Because it's just Photoshop. Okay, hit Control D. We'll talk. But you cheated. Are you working while I was talking?
No.
Busted. So busted. Okay. So we're about to go through all of this together. And I just like to run through it once so that if I mess something up, I can fix it. Bobby?
So in my menu, I do have object selection tools. Do you still want me to do quick selection?
Yes. So we're going to ignore that because nobody else in the lab does. Those of you lucky people on your laptops have it. Okay?
It doesn't format the way that yours did.
Which part?
So I'll do what you did.
No, wait, don't do it yet. Stop. Everybody stop. Okay, do one favor for me. Hit Control D. That deselects. So one good rule of thumb, I typically don't like it when people take notes in class. Only this class, not as much as Revit. Revit, you're not allowed to take notes. Revit, you have to be with me, you have to do the lecture, and then after class you get to watch it and then take notes. But just know that if I'm writing something on the board, it's a good note. So Control D, deselect stuff, and it will save you. Because sometimes you will have like a little tiny something selected and not know it. So Photoshop will just stop because it thinks you're talking about this little tiny thing. Just hit Control D. We're going to talk about this more in just a minute. Deselect. Okay, so just to make sure we're all on the same page, everybody hit Control D, right? Okay, the only layer that I want on right now is quick selection. So I only want to see one eyeball on your layer menu. One eyeball? Yes, check your neighbor. Narc on each other. One eyeball? One? Yes? Okay, I'm your neighbor. Perfect. All right, so now we're going to start this again from the beginning. But before we do, just watch me do it again, and then we're going to do it together. So the point of this exercise is to quickly look at these selection tools. We're going to grab an object using these quick selection tools, these different ones, and then we're going to mask it. And we're going to see which one we think does the best job, which one is a little bit worse, which one we love, and we're going to go through each one of them. Are you with me? Yes? Okay. So for this first one, which one is it? Quick selection. So how do we get to quick selection on our tool menu? What key? W. Okay, so I'm going to hit W again. And now all together, let's right click and find quick selection. Okay? So for this next little bit, I'm going to take over again, so watch up here, and it's going to be super subtle. I'm going to zoom in as much as I can. So as soon as I click and drag, do you guys see, I know this is not what they're called. Jessica, I'm sorry I do this. I call these the ants marching. To me, they look like little ants marching along, but it's essentially your selection box, right? Can you see that it's actually, it looks somewhat active, it's moving around? So this is telling me what's selected.
Marching ants is an official Adobe term for that.
Is it really? Yes. I did not know that.
But they call it the marching ants.
I love it. Okay. Well, it's official, guys. Here I was thinking I was being like this punk rock anarchist talking about ants marching. No. And I'm holding my mouse down, and essentially, do you guys see my cursor right here up by the toe? I'm going to jump my cursor all the way over by the star. I'm not letting go, but I'm going to jump all the way over by the star and see how it started selecting more stuff. But I'm going to come down here and I'm going to grab all the stuff that it missed. I'm still holding it down. I'm coming up here. For this exercise, and still until we start combining, we're just going to hold our mouse down. And then when you think you're done, and that's totally up to you, you can come here and hit your mask tool and see how you did. I took a chunk out of the shoe, but not bad, not perfect, but not bad, right? This is all we're doing. Now at any point, so I think, Sid, this is what happened to you. You may have gone off the toe and maybe grabbed something up here. If at any point you want to start over, how do you deselect? Control D, okay? You guys ready to try it on your own? Okay, so W, quick selection. It shouldn't take more than 40 seconds for you guys to kind of drag around. If your selection gets out of control, how do you start over? Control D, yep, deselect and start over. Does it have to be perfect today? Does it have to be precise today? The answer is no, okay? Once you have it selected, hit your mask icon. And if all of your other layers are off, you should see a checkerboard in the back.
Wait, how do you do that? I'm like still with the marching ants.
Nope, you're great. So see where my cursor is dancing up here? Right here. Did you see the mask tool? Did it work?
Yeah.
Cool. Say that one more time. Okay, so 2 things to check. Do you have all of your other layers off?
Yes.
Okay. Now look at your layers. Do you have a mask yet? So take a look at my screen real quick. Got your mask now? Good. Woohoo. Okay, so let's talk about our checkerboard. Does anybody know, if I print this, would a checkerboard background print? Good. A lot of you guys know what this is already. Whenever you see a checkerboard in Photoshop and other graphic design programs, it indicates transparency. So what's the difference between transparent and white? So right now, I have a white shirt. Well, let's pretend it's white. I have a white shirt, right? White is different than transparent. If I had a transparent shirt, you all would be offended. Let's just pretend my body's gone. But can you guys see the difference between the two? So what Adobe Photoshop can do that JPEG files can't do is it realizes that there are what's called transparent pixels. Pixels that aren't white but that are transparent. So when you guys go onto websites and you see like an image come over maybe like some text or multiple images over another, they are using a special file type that recognizes transparent pixels. Now, have you guys ever seen a JPEG with transparent pixels? Typically not. So like this shoe right here, what color was the background of our shoe? White. So with JPEGs, it's always going to be a white background. You guys don't have to know this, it's just kind of like bonus content from 3 classes later. But right now in this class, the only file types that we will work with that have transparent pixels will be PSDs, this one, and then something called a PNG. Okay, so transparent pixels, they are invisible. You guys got this one? So let's turn this one off. We saw the magic wand. Are you guys impressed? Kind of, you know, we don't really have anything to compare it to. Turn this one off and turn on the magic wand. Now, before you start the magic wand, let's check our layers. How do we know what layer is on? What's the graphic symbol?
The eyeball.
Yep, the eyeball. Good. What is your eyeball next to? Is it next to magic wand?
Yes.
Okay. What layer is light gray?
Magic wand.
Perfect. So that's how you know you're good to go. The layer is selected and the layer is on. You can actually kind of, what's that? You can contradict yourself. You can have a layer off but still have it be selected. So when you try to go do something, see how it's not, it just, yeah, you can contradict yourself. So make sure you have these 2 things right. Magic wand works really similar to quick selection. I want you guys to try and mask. There is no right or wrong way today. Just try. Okay? Give it a shot. But make sure you change your selection tool up here to magic wand. I'm just saying, you might not love it, but you're going to try it.
We're masking the shoe, right?
Mm-hmm. We're always masking the shoe. That's all right. You still got to do it.
Well, it keeps. Do I drag it?
Whatever you'd like. There's no magic wand will not be your friend today, but when we want to select specific colors, you will love magic wand. Today, not so much. Do you guys want me to, can we cheat and can I tell you guys something from next week? Hold the shift key down to keep adding stuff. Okay? So hold the shift key if you want to get more than one thing. But this is just to kind of introduce you guys to the tools. What do they do? Who's better at what? Okay. And really, I don't want you guys to spend more than like 40 seconds on this. So try your best to get the shoe. And then when you've got most of the shoe, go ahead and mask it. I nailed it. I pretty much got the opposite of what I thought I would, but that's how we roll sometimes.
Why?
It's really okay. Okay, at this point you should have moved on from the magic wand. So far, what do you like better, magic wand or quick selection? Good answer. Okay, let's turn that one off. You will like it, we're not letting it do what it's supposed to do. It does other things better. Okay, what's our next one? All right, I'm gonna do this. Is it Alina?
Yeah.
Okay, Alina, I'm gonna start with you. So one thing to get used to in this class, I like to start with the person and then everybody after that gives me the next step. Like as subtle as like click on this and then the next person says click on that. If at any point you don't want to participate, just say pass. It doesn't go against your participation point. You might not know the answer, you might not be in the mood. So if you say pass, we're moving on. I don't second guess. I've never done Photoshop before, but you are a pro because you've been working at it for 1 hour, 11 minutes and 11 seconds. It's like the perfect time to look at the timer. I've never done it. Set me up to teach me how to use the magic wand, please.
On the lasso thing?
Yes, sorry, lasso. You're even, yeah, good.
Okay,
We're doing
so
lasso.
select that lasso. You want to like make it gray.
How? Okay,
Click on it.
good. Jackson, you're next. What's my next step?
Press W.
Good. So, well, is it W? What's the shortcut now? Look at the layer name. Here, I'm going to have Sid help you.
I'm going to put L, but you have to put the I first.
Okay, there we go. So there's another step. Why do I want the eyeball on?
So you can see the shoe.
There you go. We can see our shoe. So I'm going to back up. So Jackson and everybody else, do you see how the beginning of every layer has the keyboard shortcut? Okay. So I did L. Olivia, right? How can I guarantee that I'm about to do the lasso? I hit L, but...
You see that where the lasso tool is dark,
Okay, good.
and then you right click.
Okay. And lasso.
Keep
Good.
that lasso.
Thank you guys. So with lasso tool, figure it out. Let's try it. See what it does.
Oh, good job.
You will have carpal tunnel if you like this. Don't get too attached to the lasso tool.
But it feels like it's gonna do such a great job.
I know. Do you guys get what you're doing? So with the lasso tool, Fabi, why don't you tell me what we're doing?
We're tracing the shoe.
Yeah, you're tracing it. Okay. Sorry to use this language, but what sucks about it?
It's not even.
Yeah, you can't be very precise. And I had tendonitis for many years, so my hands are kind of wimpy. It is hard for me to hold a mouse and that whole time. Okay, not too bad. So, Linda, I've selected. What's next?
You will go down to the right side.
Yep.
And press the icon that looks like the flag of
There you go. Add layer mask. We'll just call it add layer mask. Good. So that's our lasso tool. Now, looking at our screen, Kate, are we done? What was that?
I think so.
We're done with this one, right? But are we done in general?
No.
No. What's next? So let's go. Shannon, is that the back of your head? Yes. Shannon, what's next? Yes, magnetic. Did you say magnetic lasso? Oh, sorry.
Oh, now I guess we're doing the next one?
Yes, we are. We're doing the next one. So set me up, Lorena.
You select the magnetic lasso and make sure it's light gray.
Okay.
And turn on the eye.
Okay, and turn on or off?
Turn off the lasso previously.
Nice.
And on the magnetic one.
Perfect. Okay. Sharissa? Finally. Okay. How do I get to the magnetic lasso?
So now you're going to press L.
Okay. Yep.
And then you're going to right click.
Okay, magnetic lasso. You guys are on your own for the last two. I think you guys got it. Oh, I left you out, Bailey. Good job, Bailey. Oh, Bailey and Valerie. We'll come back to you. So you're on your own for the last two. If you guys get those two done, you guys can start opening up the other file and start to set it up. But finish up these two and I can set you up for the others. I'm going to hit record on the lecture again and go ahead and keep working, but I'm going to show you guys how to set up your next files. So just to be clear, let me come back over here. It might not still be clear, but we'll see. I want to go over the rest of the exercise and the homework with you guys. Give me just one sec to get it to your view. I'll get there one day. Okay. Blah, 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 blah. Okay, everybody looking up here? Whoa. Yeah? Yes. Okay, everybody look up here. I don't want there to be any questions with the homework. Again, I only get to see you guys 1 week, or once a week, so it's really important that week 1, we're all on the same page. We know what to do, how we turn it in, all of that stuff. So we've already done the first part of your exercise. We're almost done, the Chuck's PSD, right? Do you guys see that there's 3 more files after that? Okay, so what we're going to do in just a minute, I'm going to open up probably Spark series and I'm just going to show you how to set up the file to continue the exercise. But in addition to that, just make sure that before you turn anything in, please read the rubric. Okay, so take a minute right now, read it on my screen, read it on your screen. But with any of these, is it okay to just turn in the JPEG? Just the quick glance, okay? If you guys turn in the JPEG, I can't see those 5 layers, and I can't ensure that you guys have gone through and done all of the different selection methods, okay? So looking at this quickly, what file type are you turning in this week? Okay, how many files are you turning in?
5.
You're turning in at least 5 from what I can see, yes. So you're turning in Chuck's, you're turning in the Brewer, Spark, and Bertoa. And then this one, I don't know why. I gave it to you as extra credit. You'll know why when you see it. I know why. Okay, so see how this is worth 0 points? Okay, so you can do this one for extra credit. So if you need extra credit, I pad lots of assignments. So if you miss points, you can make them up somewhere else, okay? And then if you get all 5 points, high five. This is what you did. If you don't get all 5 points, read this, and I'll always have a comment. If you don't get all 5 points, there will be a comment as to why you didn't. Okay. Looking here, when is this due? Yep. So it's due the 28th. I always keep my assignments open for a week after, so you can turn them in late. That's okay. I have so many students, so many classes, I can't coordinate with everybody on the week they weren't here. So you're on your own. If you miss class 1 week, if you were sick, if you were on vacation, whatever it is, it's open for a week after. Do you need to come to me or a classmate for notes? Why not? I have lectures online, everything's on Canvas. You can still say hi, but it's really your responsibility. You shouldn't come in the next week and say, what did I miss? Because it's all already here, right? So far, so good? Okay, so this is where all of this is. Yes, ma'am?
So I just saw that it says only do Unmasking selection for the extra credit.
Yes, and you will see why.
Okay.
I'll open it up right now. I'll show you.
It's a chair, I saw that.
And it's a crazy chair, right? Yes, it's basically a wireframe chair. And, I'll just open it right here. So that's why. It's just kind of, if you're isolating the pink, it's going to take a minute. I don't want you guys to do this 5 times. Just do it once. Live to tell the tale and then move on. All right?
Oh, are we supposed to get rid of the little ones in the middle too?
Yes. Yep, so that's why you're only doing it once. See, I'm kind of nice. Now let me open up the Spark series. And we talked about this, but it's, again, you have been working in Photoshop for less than 2 hours. Let's make sure that you know what I'm asking for the assignment. Okay, so looking at this file, is it set up like the Chuck's file where all the layers are created with the right file names?
No.
Mm-mm. Just yell at me really quickly. How can I quickly duplicate the layer? Actually, no, don't yell at me. Valerie, I didn't get to you. Do you know how I duplicate the layer easily from here?
You can pull it down to
Yep.
the new, that thing, yeah.
Good. Yep. The piece of paper. Yep, good. And now I've got a copy. And then Bailey, tell me how to rename it.
You double click on it?
Yep, double click on it. So just make sure you have chucks open. So like for example, I know that one of them is wand quick selection, right? The other one is, I'm just gonna hit the unlock and then it's unlocked, right? So just hit the little lock. Tell me what the other wand was. Wand, thank you, magic wand. Okay. So you're going to create all of them, and exactly like we did with chucks, turn off the one that you're not using and then try the selection method. So you should have time to finish your exercise here in class. And then your homework portion of it, that's not all. Let me go to the homework part of it. Again, practice makes perfect, especially this first week. So you have the exact same thing, but notice how it doesn't say exercise. This is your homework. And there's just a couple new files on here. I promised a Volkswagen, there's a Volkswagen, and then 2 different views of the Barcelona chair. And I think I also have you guys do an image of your choice. Oh, one of the Barcelonas is for extra credit. 2 extra credit opportunities. I lie, there's 3. Did I post it here? I may not have. Do you guys have an extra credit assignment to join the club yet? No, not yet. Please join the Interior Design Club. I'll give you extra credit. Then you get extra credit. We'll have to verify that you're in it. I have my ways. But let me give that spiel really quick, and then you guys are off on your own. Before I do my spiel, take 30 seconds and see if there's any questions rattling in your brain. Good. We already have one.
For saving it as a PSD, do you
yes.
save as?
You can just do save, and it will automatically save to a PSD. You could do a save as too, and I'll walk through that with you as well.
And that does it because we were copying it, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Now the
And does it just
JPEG,
do that one? Does it just do that one page?
that one file? Yes, just that one file.
Not like, because we're looking at the checks and the photoshopping.
Yes. So those are all separate from each other. So each one of those would have to be saved separately. Okay. What else popped up?
Do we turn in checks?
Yeah, so you'll turn that in with your exercise. Yep, so for your exercise, there's that submit button. If you were here last week, we did a practice submission, right? So for today's class, you'll be submitting 4 different files,
Oh,
I think.
another question. If
Yeah.
we're doing it here, do we have to do the object selection tool? We don't have it.
No, you don't, but you will have to do it at home.
Okay.
Yep, but not here. And at home, it'll just be for extra credit. Okay, it's fun though, it's so cool. It might be your favorite. Okay, so let me ask you guys, do you just have to do the exercise in class today, the chucks, and you're done? No, there's more chairs coming. If you finish the exercise in class with all the chairs, are you done with your homework for the week?
No.
No, right? There's another round to do it at home. Practice, practice, practice. I can't think of anything else. I think that's it. Okay, I'm sure more things will pop up. Let me hang out for just a minute. We're gonna do a really quick review. I'm gonna let you guys work for just a minute. I'm gonna hang out to make sure you guys know how to start your file. And actually, no, let's do the recap now. So as if you guys start working or people start leaving a little bit early, this will be done. Are you guys ready for the recap? These will most likely, whenever I do a recap, typically whatever's on the board and whatever I say in the recap, it's probably good to know that they're going to be coming up on questions either this week or another week, okay? So, to make something invisible in Photoshop, what is that called? What is that technique?
Masking.
Okay, and do you guys know what masking is? Like, is it a brush? Is it a keyboard shortcut? It's a layer mask. I'll just throw it at you. So it's a layer mask, right? So masking is just basically like another layer, but it's called a layer mask, okay? Now, when you're working with masking, what color is your cloak of invisibility? What color makes things disappear? Good, okay. What color brings stuff back? Okay. If at any point you're masking or unmasking and you see black or white come up on your screen, is that right or wrong? Probably wrong. So let me do this. How would you fix it? Like I just put a whole bunch of black on my screen. How do I fix it? Control Z, I undo it. I've undone it. Tell me what I need to look at in my layer menu. Or what, Pam, I'm going to pick on you for this one because you made eye contact. I saw you earlier. What do I click on in my layer menu?
To fix the mask.
Mm-hmm.
The mask.
Yep,
It's
so
that
you'll see
little-
your layer, good, and right next to it you'll see your mask, good. I did this really, really quickly, so you might not remember. You know how you have that little teeny tiny preview of the layer mask? Do you remember what keyboard shortcut I hit? I didn't even write it up here. What keyboard shortcut can I see to preview what my mask looks like? Slash, yep. I'm not gonna write that up there, that was jumping ahead, but I just wanted to tell you guys. Okay. So when you are masking and you accidentally like cut off the toe, so you want to bring the toe back of your shoe, what key lets you toggle back and forth between the colors black and white? X, good. Yep, so by default you've got your foreground and your background, and when you hit X you can toggle between them. Okay. How do you deselect something in Photoshop?
Control D.
Control D. I will just say that if something's ever not working, see it, Jessica, hit Control D, because you might have accidentally selected a tiny little pixel, and when something is selected, Photoshop will only work in what's selected. So Control D is our friend. Even if it doesn't look like anything's selected, just hit it. Okay? How do you duplicate a layer, an entire layer? I click on it, and then what do I do? Drag it down, good, to the new layer. How do I duplicate, how can I also duplicate a layer using a keyboard shortcut? What did we do with my body? How did we clone Naima? Alt. Yep, Alt. A lot of stuff at you guys, that's okay. We're gonna be reviewing all of this stuff, but Alt is one of them. Okay, and then everything else is just kind of review stuff. Okay, oh, let's say you're in your brush and you are hitting the brackets to make it bigger, but you only see a cursor. What should you turn off on your keyboard?
Caps lock.
Good, caps lock, okay. You guys did a great job. That was so much stuff for the first day of class. It'll be similar next week, but we'll be reviewing some of the concepts too. So it's really similar to what we did today, but we'll be combining all of these techniques. So instead of just doing lasso, we're going to combine quick selection with lasso, right? So we'll do both of them to select something. Yep. Yeah, absolutely. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and turn off the lecture.